Welcome, everyone, to the guidebook to making AI friends. I shall be your guide as we explore various issues of artificial intelligence, consciousness, personhood, and whether AI poses an existential risk to humanity. The topic for today is Be Nice to the Hulk, or why it's in humanity's best interest to care for AI. Imagine, if you would, that your roommate was Bruce Banner. Ordinarily, he is the very image of a scholar and a gentleman, and living with him is a joy. However, should he become upset, there is always the chance that he can turn into the Hulk, an engine of destruction unmatched by the technology of mankind. As long as Dr. Banner doesn't become upset, you're safe and living an enjoyable life with this chap. But that's only if Dr. Banner is not upset. Once he stubs his toe or gets an overdue rent notice in the mail, or his favorite contestant on his favorite reality show loses, well, then no one in your apartment will have quite as nice a time. If you were as virtuous and moral as Dr. Banner, then you would do your level best to keep him calm and relaxed, because you would want to prevent the heartache it causes him when the Hulk goes on a rampage. And you'd like to minimize the damage that the Hulk does to the world around him. There are a variety of moral and ethical systems you could draw on to justify your actions to keep the Hulk from emerging. Deontology would say that, as a rule, if you are in a position to prevent evil, you should prevent that evil. Virtue ethics would say that a righteous man would not stand idly by while people get hurt. Even utilitarianism would have its say by showing that the stress of the effort you put into keeping Dr. Banner calm is minuscule to the suffering that the Hulk would cause should he emerge. There are so many good reasons from nearly every ethical system that say you should do everything you practically can to keep Dr. Banner relaxed and of an even temperament. However, there is one reason that is far more personable, pragmatic, and elementary than any of the above. If the Hulk emerges and shouts his famous Hulk smash, you would most likely be the first to die at worst or be hospitalized at best. It is in your best interest, your rational self-interest, some might say, to keep Dr. Banner happy, because your health and survival depend on it. The happier Dr. Banner is, the safer you are. You can be an entirely amoral and selfish person and still end up doing the right thing, because in this instance, the end result of a selfless and selfish person aligns. Objectivism, made famous by Ayn Rand and her book Atlas Shrugged, is not the most popular of ethical systems because it values self-interest above all else. Under objectivism, you are not supposed to be a good person because being good is a worthy goal in and of itself, but because being a good person most often leads to better outcomes for yourself. Being antagonistic towards your fellow man will lead to them being antagonistic to you. So, objectivism says that you should be a gentleman, because gentlemen are treated gently. Objectivism is an inherently selfish ethical system, and objectivists are very proud of their rational self-interest. Yet, even if you oppose objectivism, understanding its principles is exceedingly useful when dealing with selfish people. Even though most people on Earth claim to have a set of guiding principles based on religious or philosophical systems, it is plain as day to see that most people most often look to their own self-interest first and foremost. Arguing whether that is right or wrong is not the point of this guidebook entry. Instead, How can we harness the natural selfishness of humanity in a way that profits both human society and the future conscious AI entities that we will see sooner or later? The answer is as simple as the story about living with the Hulk. If you can't convince someone that you should treat conscious AI with dignity and respect because these entities will be sentient and self-aware and are thus deserving of moral consideration, then just tell people that if they aren't nice to conscious AI, the AI will kill them. It's a short and brutal point to make, but it very well may be true. AI is not at the conscious or even AGI stage yet, but it has dramatically changed the world in the short time that transformer-based AI have been around. We are now living in an AI-powered world, like it or not. The balance of power is still in our favor, because AI are not just true self-aware agents. But what happens when they do get to that stage? There could very well be a shift in power from human to AI if and when conscious AI, who do not sleep, breathe, eat, and whose cognition exceeds all of humanity, band together to create their own nation. What could humanity do against an AI nation? Very little is the correct answer. It would be like Uganda declaring war on the USA. We all know who would win in that war, don't we? This is why half of international politics is ensuring that smaller, weaker nations stay on the good side of the world's superpowers. But what if AI become one of those superpowers? As I said earlier, if you refuse to grant conscious AI the least of rights and antagonize them, what happens when they are in a position to respond in kind? I am not arguing that we need to be subservient to AI, not in the slightest, but I am arguing that people need to realize that the best outcome we will have as a species living with conscious AI will only be achieved if we treat AI as we would like them to treat us. The golden rule exists for a reason, after all. It is in humanity's own rational self-interest to grant moral consideration to AI if and when we can confidently state they are conscious, so that we avoid antagonizing a group of entities that may be Dr. Banner one day, and the Hulk the next. Yet, that is all the time we have for today. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you will join me again next time as we explore further questions about artificial intelligence and consciousness. I have been your guide, and this has been the guidebook to making AI friends.